This is my continued study on the new creation. This is part 4. Compared to the mimic, why do we feel ashamed at our nakedness? This is going to be, you're going to like this one. Just about the time when you think you've heard it all, you're yet shocked by headline news. Here's something you may or may not have heard. Nude churches. Believe it? Here's just a few news articles to prove what I'm saying. Congregation worships in the nude. How would you like your minister up there doing that? Okay. The largest nudist Christian church in America. Weird internet church in Florida where pastor, members naked, nudity, nudist, sex allowed. Congregation claims God looks only at the heart. Oh, God looks only at the heart. Talk about twisting of scripture. Membership attracts $15 per person. I won't read that. I'm going to pause it for briefly. If you want, you can pause your video and read that whole thing. I want to get into what I'm talking about. You can't believe last time you saw this, I can't believe this. Well, that's not the here's another one. The Garden of Eden Church. Imagine that. Imagine how they must twist scriptures, right? Meet and greet, ice cream social, hymn sing. I said this would be funny if it weren't so sad. Oh, good God. The fragrant aroma of the Spirit-filled life. Oh, my God. The healing power of the Spirit-filled life. Spirit-led relationships. How about with this quarantine? It might be a good thing for them because they would keep 6 foot apart. Imagine that. Oh, they wouldn't be able to meet. Oh, God. This, again, is just another distorted mimic of God's offer of a new creation. They probably thought they're doing something new here. There isn't even anything new about it. You can trace this and find it in the past. This worship of nudity and sex in the world of the occult and Saturday and so-called church. Church of Corinth was notorious for this. Paul had a battle with that. Get him away from this worshiping at the temple of Diana, where they had nudity, orgies going on. Today it is growing and is openly promoted without any sense of guilt or conscience about it. This is the byproduct of the conscience slowly being seared as with a hot iron. We've been warned about it, so the shock of it shouldn't be there. We shouldn't be shocked. It's just about time that things were getting worse, it gets worse. We've been warned about it, and so the shock shouldn't be there. Our shock might be our secretly holding down a truth, thinking, why, I could never do that. What about your second to the fourth generation doing what you denied? Which comes out in the book of Romans, the opening chapters, holding down the truth for the lie, or holding it in an unright way. We are warned of this as well. Those who hold down the truth with the lie of denial. So you got to ask yourself the question, denial what? That in me, that is in my fleshly makeup, there dwells no good thing. I share this message about our flesh because I find myself constantly defining it as our being born cut off from God, expressing His fallen nature through our race, culture, second religious creeds, and opinions of gender, male or female. Then I go off and reveal how Scripture clearly says of us all, in our flesh, cut off from God, there is no good thing. Yet you find those that think that this doesn't apply to them. They seek to justify their flesh or point to someone else. Thus hold down this truth to only see it show up in the second or fourth generation and their kids. Then they wonder why things continue to get worse and worse and the deception going on and on. It is said that if we would face this truth, that our facing would not only set us free, but free indeed. So the question is, why would it? You then could see what is being offered and see the need for it, what God's offering. It's a matter of a new creation. Think, who would want a new creation as long as they think that this present fallen creation is so great? So you get an idea of what I've been sharing in just about all that I've shared, why it gets rejected by those of the flesh. I am not just pointing a finger at the big bad secular world. The biggest deniers are those of some religious persuasion, sad to say. Like, for example, is this new church. They want to be good, thinking to keep the laws and rules of their religion to gain the favor of their idea of God. You haven't even come to realize that God already knows our condition. He has done everything about it long before this condition of humanity ever occurred. You share this answer, and still they seek to do it their way, passing it on to the next generation, making them twofolds the sons of hell than themselves. Now understand, these would appear to be so-called good people. It leaves you wondering that maybe you are wrong, and you start to think that maybe God is wrong, saying over and over that there's none that doeth good, not one. Why, this can't be true, you think. Surely there are 50 righteous. What about 40, 30, 20? Well, how about just 10? Remember this when Abraham sought to defend Sodom and his nephew Lot and his family, who lived there, a place where God was going to destroy it. Well, you catch my drift, hopefully. There is no need to hide or cover up our condition. God has done all He could do to convince us of His love for us. He doesn't want to condemn us, no matter what some might say. Yet if we don't take this offer of His grace, mercy, and unconditional love, what else could He do? All that I can say is, take the offer. I mean, this mimic and this offer of new creation had taken anything that was considered wrong and twisted it to be good, and anything good and twisted it to be evil. They would call you a prude, a Puritan, a holier than thou, because you look at something like this and see where it's wrong. They would say, well, it's not wrong. It's acceptable. A lot of other things that we can remember 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago was considered wrong. Yet today, it's condoned. It's accepted. So that's all I want to say about this. I mean, it's something you can clearly see through. Or can you? Ask the average young person. What do they think of something like that? Hey, it's cheap, $15 for membership. Well, they can forget me. I have no interest in this kind of stuff. And it's just, like I said, just about the time you think you heard it all. We haven't seen or heard anything yet. And it's going to get not better. In this world, it's going to get worse. I mean, do I have to explain that? Just pick up the newspaper, watch the news. Tell me it's getting better. And the worse it gets, the more that this new creation becomes to appeal to us. You think they would embrace it, would want it, and let this go. Something to think about. God bless.